Matt Toffee Blues, your source for all things Everton. I'm Jay Pelton, and I'm looking here today at the potential of Everton signing Kalvin Phillips on loan from Manchester City, as has been rumoured by Sky Sports and other sources. We actually put out a tweet a couple of days ago to say, what do you reckon to this move? Try and gauge a bit of opinion. 2,400 people responded, 67% said yes, 18% no, and 40.5% were quite indifferent. I think, to be fair, based on the reaction on Twitter, like when the news came out, I think it was around lunchtime, maybe on Monday or Tuesday, I think a lot of it was, okay, well, his last two seasons were really bad. He did have injuries as well at Leeds that we'll come on to, and certainly in his second season there and his final season at the club, obviously, I think he played 20 games, so we'll touch on that in a second, but I do get that. I think at his best, he massively improves us, and he'd be one of the best players in the first 11 right from the get-go. At his worst, you know, may as well kept Andre Gomez in terms of he offered nothing really at City, but more so West Ham. I'm not too concerned about his City spell, because I think he played, I think it was 12 games in his first season, which was going to be tricky for him. World Cup in between, the weight issues with Guardiola, Rodri's playing there, being master-in-chief of the reasons why I think he struggled. But I thought what we'll do is we're going to compare him to Everton's three defensive-minded central midfield players, or central midfielders rather than Decore. We're going to look at Gay, James Garner and Amadou Onana. These stats are based on Phillips' first two seasons in the Premier League, which were 2020-21, 2021-22, and then the three Everton lads are from the start of last season when Lampard was in charge, and then he got sacked 6 months in. So it's 6 months Lampard, 18 months Dyche. I think Phillips' stats are, what sort of, I can't actually remember when Bielsa was sacked. I actually don't remember Bielsa getting sacked. However long was Bielsa when he was in the Premier League, and then we're a little bit on the Jesse Marsh maybe, but point being is very different styles of football. You know, Bielsa and Marsh share similarities, I think it's fair to say, in terms of how they played football, high octane, high tempo, and that'll be reflected in the stats. Phillips played games behind closed doors, the other three lads didn't. Leeds were about as bad as Everton for that. They were, I think they finished 9th in the first season, we finished 10th, and then I'm trying to think of 2021, 22, that would have been when they stayed up actually after us. So yeah, we actually were about as bad as each other during that 2-year period. But so that's what we're going to factor in, those sorts of things, different styles of play, as I say. It'll all come into it. But yeah, we'll look at the stats now. These are all based on 90 minutes, or stats per game rather, probably more accurate. And we'll see how he compares to our three midfielders. Should be able to see on the screen now the table. In Phillips' first season, 2020-21, he made 29 appearances, whereas from last season, Gay, Garner and Onana played 32 times, 16 and 33 between them. So apart from James Garner, who I didn't realise made so few appearances in his first season, obviously he had an injury and we're quite a settled midfield of Iwobi, Gay and Onana, to be fair, but he played about as many games as these lads. Tackles, Gay's on top, 2.9 as he normally is, and Phillips at 2.6. Onana just behind, 2.2. Then Garner on 1. Played less games, as I say then. Interceptions, Gay's again top, 1.7. Again, just behind Phillips, 1.6. And then Onana, again, just behind, 1.1. Garner on 0.8. Clearances, Phillips is top, 1.7 per game. Onana 1.1. Gay 0.9, then Garner at 0.8. Blocks, Garner's top, 0.6. Then Phillips, 0.5. Gay 0.4, and Onana 0.2. Clearances and blocks, obviously, I'm not going to put huge importance on them. It's definitely more about tackles and interceptions. But Phillips comes up well, and he comes up against, you know, one of the best sort of defensive midfielders we've seen in Europe over the last sort of 7-8 years, in terms of, you know, there's a sort of 2-3 year obsession where managers should want somebody who can win the ball back, and that's what Gay does. And the fact that he comes up well against him is good. Obviously, I think in that midfield at Leeds, he probably had to do a lot of work on his own. So I can appreciate that, and I think, you know, I think these two can work in unison, and we'll come on to the passing stats. I mean, we've got defensive and passing stats. I thought they were most important in Phillips' game, but I think Gay always has worked better a little bit higher up, and if he had someone behind him, we've seen it with Arsenal, like Jorginho playing, that's really helped free some other players up, and I think not only Garner, but James Garner as well could also be another one who potentially benefits from this. Then we'll go into the season just gone for the Everton lads, season before that for Phillips. Made 20 appearances for Leeds last season, great, just over half the games. A couple of them were off the bench. Well, these are all who scored, by the way. You want to look at these for yourself. But Garner then played 37 games for us. Then Onana 30. Gay only 25, but he was so crucial at the end of the season. Gay on top again for tackles, 2.9, but then Phillips just behind 2.7, Onana 2.4, Garner 2.2. So Gay's stayed as consistent as ever there. Phillips just slightly higher, but he obviously did play fewer games, as I say, and then Onana around the same as well. Big improvement for James Garner, who played a lot more football. I think this shows that this is a midfield player who can do the defensive side of the game, and as I say, I think playing as a bit of a linchpin in there on his own, tough tackling centre mid. I think that's what he kind of got into the Leeds team, where he played a little bit further forward. And as I say, I think it was kind of more Marcelo Bielsa who transformed into more of a 6 and someone who can destroy and can be good on the ball as well. Obviously called the Yorkshire Paler, but we'll come on to that in a second. Interceptions, Phillips and Garner both 1.2 per game, then Gay 1.1 and Onana 0.7. Clearances, Garner's top 1.2 again, then Onana 1, Phillips 0.9 and Gay 0.6. And then Phillips top for block, 0.5. 0.4 for Garner, 0.3 for Gay, 0.2 for Onana. I say not massively fussed about those last two stats. I think, again, it shows you in the areas you're getting the defensive work done. And to be fair to all three of them, those stats across the board are actually really good, other than Onana's interceptions are obviously a bit low. But again, I think that shows as well that you think how good just again is defensively. Very different stature to Phillips, but Phillips can almost match him, which I think is a really good sign for us. Different styles of play, take it with a pinch of salt. I get that. Gay's also getting older. Not sure I'll replicate these numbers next season, but we'll see. He's proved wrong before. But I think defensively, Phillips can really hold his own, and I think that's super important. So we're going to play that 6 role for us, potentially. Looking at the passing stats then, which is where, Phillips, you'd say largely comes alive. Again, in his first season in the Premier League, played 29 games, as I mentioned, and he had 1.2 key passes per game. Onana's next on 0.7, and then Gay and Garner 0.4. So Garner didn't play much football in his first season, as we say, and Gay not really his game. 1.2 is a really good number for a defensive midfield player. Again, playing in there on his own, really, really impressive numbers. Average passer per game 48.4. Next up is Gay on 36.6, and again, I think just Gay does a lot of work on his own and probably gets the ball a lot, whether he's tackling someone or someone like Tarkovsky or Branthwaite flying in there. Not in this particular season with Branthwaite, but in terms of picking up loose balls, he's making a lot of passes there. But Phillips, really good numbers, 48.4. Pass actually 84.7, just ahead of Gay, 84.5. Onana 84%, then Garner down at 80.9. And then long balls, 4.7 per game. Next best is Onana, 1.7. You talk about a Dyche system, counter-attacking, getting the ball forward quickly, getting into the opposition area, trying to make things happen. I think those long ball stats are really impressive. Say Onana on 1.2, then Gay 1.1. Okay, Everton played a slightly different style of football and for the first 6 months of that period under Lampard. But I still think they're really good numbers for Phillips. Coming into his second season, final season Leeds, again, he only played 20 games, and then his key pass numbers went down to 0.5. Again, that's the worst out of these, out of all of them. So the numbers really dropped there. Maybe that's because of the style Jesse Marsch is playing, and then obviously it went to, or was it? No, that was the season after. Sorry, or was it? Yeah, I'm just getting a bit confused. No, yeah, it was. Sorry, yeah. So that was under Jesse Marsch and a bit of Bielsa as well, but. Garner 1.2 key passes per game last season, really impressive. And considering that fact that he dropped off a little bit in the middle of the season, that's really good. Onana and Gay at 0.6 there, so not great for Phillips, but still on average passes 47.4. You can see why City signed him, an absolute metronome in there. And again, just Gay 35.2. For the second year running, he's 12 passes on average behind him per game. You do that in a month. That's what we're talking there, 48 odd passes more per game over the average of a month-long fixtures. That makes a big difference, I think. And in terms of, something I think that Everton team have lacked a little bit is a bit of build-up and a bit of calm on the ball and having a player in there who can slow things down, make something happen, and that's what I think we're seeing with Kalvin Phillips here. Pass success rate went down to an 82%. That was the worst out of the three, but Gay 85.6, Garner 82, and Onana 84.9. So all those lads up their game a little bit. Phillips has dropped a little bit, but still long balls 3.5 per game. That's nearly 3 times as many as Garner. Next best 1.2. So again, we're seeing long spraying passes, trying to get the fullbacks involved, or if not the fullbacks, certainly the wingers. 2 very traditional wingers at Everton this season as well, and potentially at right back, having someone going a bit further forward than Mikalenko again, that could be super important. But I think when I was looking at these stats, I think I'm seeing a player who super calm on the ball, collected on the ball, obviously likes to have it at his feet. You see him picking it up in that sort of quarterback role, getting the ball on the half turn, turning, spraying a pass, keeping it simple, whatever it needs to be. And the numbers prove that, you know, he's hitting pretty much 100 passes on average over those 2 seasons, which I think Berghain, there's some really good numbers and much better than midfielders we got. And I think he does offer something different. For me, I think this would be a really, really good signing on loan. If Everton can keep a small loan fee and obviously split his wages, I don't know what he'd be on, but I imagine he's on 6 figures at City. He could be wrong, but I'd imagine so. I'm not sure how much City signed him for, just thinking about that. But I think he's certainly a player that for me, he would improve Everton hugely. If we get it, 42 million he cost City, which is an awful lot more, nearly our record signing, and he's not even, you know, he's not even interested. As you're looking here about the overweight comment Guardiola made, which was bizarre, but at his best, he massively improves Everton. At his worst, yeah, he would be dead weight, unfortunately, because he would be in any Premier League club the way he played at West Ham, which was, you know, way below his levels. And obviously, at international level, he's been absolutely fantastic for England. He's got 40-odd caps, the 31 caps he's got for England, and obviously he's been in the last couple of major tournament squads. I think when they see a player who's going to have fire in his belly, can watch the Euros this summer, and obviously not be involved for the first time in a couple of cycles, and if you want to get back in there, and he will absolutely get back into that England squad, because I think he's a really good profile for that team, and he's proved that he can perform on the big stage. So for me, I think this would be a really good signing. I think he offers us something slightly different, and I think it would improve our midfield options massively in terms of where we are at the minute, and we need depth. So I think on loan, this is low risk, potentially very high reward for Everton. So let me know your thoughts down below. Let me know how you think he compares to our current options, and let me know what you think on potentially getting him in on a temporary basis. We'll see you next time. Thank you.